Hi everybody. We're going to make something really different today. I saw this recipe and it sounded so good that we're going to try it. Now the actual recipe that'll be down below calls for, it's doubled. I am just doing one chicken. It calls for 2 chickens, 2 cut-up chickens. Well, they didn't have a cut-up chicken when I went to the store because I shop at a small store. So I had my choice between chicken legs, 3.5 pounds of chicken legs, or thighs, and I thought the legs would have more flavor, so that's what I chose. So I got about 3.5 pounds of chicken legs in here, along with, I'm going to read you the single recipe. 6 tablespoons of peanut oil. I didn't have peanut oil, so I didn't use it. I just used canola. Alright, and you're supposed to brown this, but it just, I guess I've got so much chicken in here, it refuses to brown. So, in the half a recipe, you add 1/2 of a large onion. And that's what I'm going to add right now. 1/2 of a large onion. I'm going to stir it up pretty good. If I can. It's kind of hard to stir legs. I honestly wish I hadn't gotten them. I wish that I'd gotten the thighs. They would have been easier. Well, I wish I'd gotten the cut-up chicken like it asked for. Anyway, I'm stirring up these onions in here. Let's see what it says to do next. Alright, you can see I added a few things. After I put in the onions, it calls for, to make a single recipe, 1.5 tomatoes that you've diced. Well, I just opened a can of diced tomatoes. And because I like tomatoes, I added a little can of the Rotel. Now, it calls for a teaspoon of Vegesal. I can't find that in the grocery stores, but what I did have, which is just as good, I think, I found this in the grocery store. Whoop. How am I going to display this? Can you all see that? Maybe I need to turn it. Anyway, there it is. Let me turn it upside down. Glory. It's made by Glory, and it's a seasoned cooking base, and it's very thick, and it's roasted vegetables. And since I did some research on that Vegesal, it's more powder, I guess like garlic powder or something. This is not. So I put a teaspoon of this in. Seasoned cooking base, roasted vegetables. So if you look, I don't know, this is it right here. I'm just gonna mix it in. In a minute. I'm gonna get it down in there, but I'll mix it later. Alright, now that I've done that, I'm going to pour, I have actually boiled a couple of cups of water here. And I'm going to pour it into a 2-cup container. And I'm going to add so you can't see all this, and I'm going to add a half a cup of peanut butter. And the reason it's going into the hot water is so that it'll dissolve. Not be clumpy in your soup. So I'm stirring it up. Let it get melted. You know, it just thins right out in the hot water. Because this 2 cups of water, it's actually 2.5, but this cup holder only holds 2 cups, so I'll add the other half a cup in a minute. It's going in this pot. Let me see if I can move back. There it is, right there. You can see how it's dissolving. I probably should have put that seasoning base in here too and let it all dissolve together. Alright. I'm going to let it finish in the pot because I have made a mess. Let's get back over here. It'll dissolve in here. Trust me, it will. See if I can get any more out of the container, out of my measuring cup. And I'm going to add, stirring this around. Be sure and use a nice big heavy pot for this, especially if you double it. If I had used the full recipe, I don't know that I'd have a pot big enough for it. Here's the other half a cup of water going in. There we go. Now there's a few other ingredients that go in this. Let me swish it around a little bit. See, it's getting nice and juicy now. And those, you know, if you want to use a whole cut up chicken, and I wish that my little store had one, but it didn't. By all means, go ahead. You do not have to use chicken legs. Alright, got that going. Now, I'm going to start adding my vegetables. First thing I'm going to put in, now this is for the double recipe, is 3 bell peppers. It's nice if they're different colors. If they're not, don't worry about it. Use them anyway. I also added a quarter of a can of tomato paste in here while the camera was off. I added the actual tomatoes that I used out of a can, and the rotel that I used out of a can that was diced. Alright, now this is, should have had these on the plate. It says add them one at a time. I don't see any point in that. I just don't understand the logic behind it, and I'm kind of a logical person. So, actually not kind of. I'm a very logical person. So the doubled recipe, or the recipe that it calls for how many? It calls for 3 sweet potatoes cut into chunks, and it calls for 6 carrots. Well, you know, I cut everything in half, but we're carrot lovers, so I did 5 carrots. And this is all in chunks. Alright, all I'm going to do now is I'm going to let this simmer for about 30 minutes. And there's one more ingredient going in here, but it doesn't go in until about 10 minutes before the rest of the dish is done. So I'll bring you back then. I left out an ingredient. The doubled recipe calls for 6 okra pods cut up. Well, I didn't have any fresh okra, but you can buy this bagged frozen okra that's not coated or anything, redded. You can buy it at Walmart. It's inexpensive. So I just took what looked to be 3 okra pods to me, because I like okra cooked in a soup. And I added that, and now we're going to begin to cook it, and I'll bring you back. Hey, about 10 minutes before it's done, you add the other half of the onion, or if you're doing the full batch, you add a whole onion that you have crushed into either a chili pepper, or if you're doing just one chicken like I am, 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. If you're doing the full 2 chicken recipe, you're going to use 1/2 teaspoon of chili pepper, of cayenne pepper. And I'm going to mix that in. Oh, I can't tell you how good this smells. I just can't even begin to tell you. Alright. We'll be back when this finishes up. Alright guys, our African stew is done. And when I went in to stir it, the meat was just falling off the bone, so I took all the bones out. I just took the legs out one by one and scraped the bone off. But Sam's in here. He is going to taste our stew. Make sure I get some sweet potatoes in there. I got plenty of carrots. Sweet potato. Sweet potato. This is very hearty. Can you all see it? Very hearty stew. Give it a try. Let's see what Sam thinks.
Well,
here you go,
give me
Sammy.
a big bowl.
Well, it's narrow at the bottom of it.
African stew.
Yes. If you have a big family, the full recipe would be absolutely perfect. If you have a small family, then just make 1 chicken like I did and split everything else down the middle. Of course, I added more tomatoes because I like tomatoes. And I love carrots, so I added a few more carrots also.
Very delicious and very unique. it would be a good change from chili or homemade vegetable soup in the in the wintertime. It's very, very good. Yeah.
What does it taste like?
Tastes a lot like African stew.
Does it
Yeah.
really?
Well, I mean, you can taste the chicken. The broth is.
Can you taste the peanut butter? It's just a very light taste, isn't it?
Yeah, very light.
You'll love this stew.
Yeah, it's very good. It's delicious.
You'll love it. You'll love it. I promise you. Thank you for coming in today and spending a little bit of time with me. A little part of your day. It means a lot. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, you all take care. Let me see if I can zoom in a little. There we go. Take care.